Hi, welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is military affairs and the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline. Who done it? If you haven't heard by now, there was an attack on the Russian Navy in Sevastopol. It was carried out by about 9 UAVs and 7 Navy drones. But the attack was successfully repelled by the Russians, and all the drones or UAVs have been shot down with no damage to any serious damage, and no civilians were killed in the attack. Well, in lieu of this attack, the Russians have now declared that they will stop the grain agreement for the export of Ukrainian grain from Odessa to Europe, because that is where most of the grain is actually going, and not alleviating any poverty or poor countries. Now, in line of the attack, the Russia's Ministry of Defense has made an announcement or a statement, which I believe is a slip of the tongue. I'm not sure if he should have said that, but he did. And I quote, "The preparation of the terrorist act and training of the military personnel of the Ukrainian 73rd Special Center for Maritime Operations has been carried out under supervision of the British experts based in the city of Oshakov in Ukrainian Nikolaev region," end quote. And it also said that, and that is where the caveat comes into, it says that writing on an official Telegram channel, the ministry alleged that Royal Navy operators took part in planning, supporting, and implementing the plot to blow up the infrastructure in September. That means the Nord Stream pipelines. But it didn't provide any direct evidence to support this assertion. Now, naturally, the UK Defence Ministry denied all accusations and all involvement. And, well, it says it was a Russian misinformation. And unfortunately, I have to agree with, or I have to believe, the Russian Ministry of Defense Ministry. Everybody, I've made a video before where I discussed alternative possible culprits that could have blown up the Nord Stream pipeline. But the general idea or the general narrative was that Americans did it because based on the principle of who would benefit. Well, I also discussed on the benefit that America really would have gotten from the blow up of the Nord Stream. And it was a gas delivery to Europe, but that's not that significant. They can never resupply or supply Europe with the gas that they need. They just have the necessary quantities. But it was always stated that Americans were the culprit. And then I asked the question is, now, if you are the logical culprit or instigator, or if all fingers point to you, do you really think then you're going to do the crime as being alleged? Well, unless you are very sure of yourself, or you don't really care, or something like that. And that is why I was mostly against the idea of pointing the fingers at America directly. Please note, directly. I always expected it was somebody else. And the most logical two partners were actually Poland and the UK. And the Americans have worked with both of these countries before. Both of them are very fanatically in their support of Ukraine. And then Poland has a beef with Germany in repatriation or war damages, if you want to call it like that. So they had a similar type of motive to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. Well, we always thought that at least the minimum Ukraine must be involved. So again, in order to be able to point to Ukraine that they did it, and therefore create plausible deniability for all other actors. And if you have also looked at the whole effort, what the NATO countries' effort they are making of not getting involved in the war with Russia, they're always in a supportive role and not in a direct combat situation. Although they are bluffing themselves, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say. It is what the other party believes. And currently, Russia believes that NATO is involved and active in Ukraine, but they haven't reacted until now. And it will probably still take some time before they actually really attack those centers where NATO personnel is involved. Now, again, the British Navy has a capability. They would have trained or used or be accompanied by some Ukrainians. And according to a recent article from Sky News, I just want to get it. Sky News has cited the UK defense official as saying that Nord Stream 1 and 2 could have been damaged by a remotely detonated underwater explosive device. At the time, the broadcaster said the pipelines might have been breached by mines lowered to the seabed or explosive drops from a boat or planted by an undersea drone. Now, all of these are actually possible scenarios. I know the pipes have a wall thickness, steel wall thickness of about 40 millimeters. But so do most ships, vessels, big, large oil tanks and so on. They have similar steel walls on the outside. And still they break and get rammed and so on and get punctured. Yes, they usually have plates type of structures, and this is a round pipe. So from a point of structural evaluation, it's a little bit different. But then on the other side, also the pipe is a little bit under pressure from the gas inside, which created a certain stress positions. And we don't really know what type of explosive could be used or what type of weapons could be used. Maybe they are purely shockwave type of explosions. And whether it's maybe compression of water, like a depth charge or something like that, I don't really know. But if the reaction is fast enough, then say you would apply a force to an item, then you will have a certain stress level. But if you do it fast, like an impact, then you can raise the stress level significantly about the static position, and you can cause failure. Now, what also initially I actually thought that a diver would go down or a drone would go down and then lie out explosive charges on each of the 4 pipelines, and the reason the one wasn't blown up was probably that charge failed. But if you think about this, that if you could drop a certain charge, then and it falls between say the outside and the pipe next to it, then it will maybe destroy 2 of them or 3 of them, but for some other reason the 4th one wasn't damaged. So the dropping of explosive from the surface, maybe guiding it by a pilot line that has been lowered previously, it all sort of are all possibilities, and it takes, from a technical point of view, it makes it credible. Now, why do I believe this article? Or not article, but a statement by the Russian Defense Ministry? Well, they have never lied before, in effect, when it comes to intelligence. And we know that Ukraine is partially Russian, or pro-Russian, and there are a lot of pro-Russian elements inside the government and other institutes. So I believe that Russians did get information about the recent UAV attack on the Sevastopol harbor, and then by chance they also discovered that the same entity, the Royal Navy, was involved in the planning of the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. So I currently believe that it is by chance that they got that information and they made it available. And they didn't tell you much more, naturally, because they don't want to jeopardize their sources and put them in danger. And unfortunately, I believe that information is fairly credible. Counter to some of the reports that we get in the West from the American intelligence services, who have lied before, and they have consistently lied about many things. So it's very difficult to determine which of the information they provide is true and what is false. But I believe you cannot say the same thing about the Russian intelligence services. They have been quite effective, quite successful, especially when it also comes to counterterrorism operations that have been prevented in the recent couple of weeks. Well, you can't prevent all terrorist action, that is impossible, but they had a fairly large percentage that they stopped. Well, why do I believe also the British have done it? It's again, America is an ally, or supposed to be an ally, of Germany. Now, if America had blown it up and that information would have surfaced, then Germany would have been seriously offended, and the relationship between America and Germany would have deteriorated drastically, and it could have made a split in the EU. But Britain is not a stated ally of Germany. So if Britain is involved, then there is no real problem about that. Germany can moan and groan and so on, but it has to accept the outcome of the explosions. And the impact would not be on a political level the same as if America did it. Also, Britain is not that dependent on Russian gas. And Britain has a vested interest in supporting Ukraine and Zelensky. And they are fanatically enough to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if, all the information more or less fits together and it makes it a little bit more credible. At the end of the day, does it bother the Germans? Because it doesn't look like it's the explosions of the North pipelines have bothered Germany. Firstly, the two Nord Stream pipeline 2 were not certified. Yes, I know people are talking about backdoors, but that's a totally different situation. It's not that these pipes are permanently destroyed and can never be repaired. They can be repaired, and from a technical point of view, I would suggest maybe 2-3 months, and that is more than sufficient time to reopen any backdoor if necessary. As long as you decide before the time, sufficient time before that. Nord Stream pipelines 1 were not fully, they were not functioning because of the gas turbine problems. So there was also no gas flowing through that, which means basically Germany didn't receive any gas via the Nord Stream, the 2 Nord Stream or 4 Nord Stream pipelines. So, and then, I'll take a quote again. Is that it was reported in the Spiegel on Thursday. Due to, it is very likely that the act of sabotage with strong explosions has had a negative impact on both strings of the pipeline. So there is currently no technical capacity to pump gas through it. The government said in response to a parliamentary inquiry from the Alternative for Germany, the AFD, party leader Leif Erik Holm. And then he suggested that the German government is hoping that the issue of gas supplies via Nord Stream has been dealt with by the explosions. Because Holm's party, that's the AFD, strongly advocates that the launch of the Nord Stream 2 and is critical of the government policy of distancing Germany from Russia in terms of energy. So it's again the far-right party, well, not the far-right, it's the right party that is actually complaining and asking the question for the government. And are they going to repair basically the pipeline? And what would the effect be if it's not being repaired? And well, that's the answer that the German government is providing in parliament. And we haven't heard much complaint from the German government in any case when the sabotage has taken place and the pipes were destroyed. So in my opinion, it doesn't really bother the German government what has happened to the Nord Stream. Well, we all know, and it's also my belief, that that's a very short-sighted view, but short-sightedness has become the order of the day, if you want to put it like that. Well, I think this puts a little bit of a dent in the whodunit saga. I'm fairly confident the Russian intelligence service is correct. Royal Navy was involved. Everybody will deny it, as usual. The pipeline was blown up. Germany doesn't really care, or if they care, they're not expressing it. America has been proven to not be the ultimate culprit, although I believe they have sanctioned it. And then we have the story. Mystery is solved. In any case, that's where we come to the end of this video. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the channel. Share the link with your friends, and so that we can get more subscribers and unlock a lot of more YouTube functions. And then until next time, cheers.